Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the rear axle, trying to get it installed, but as you can tell, we got the front end off the jack stands and setting on wood. So she is currently setting at ride height. If you hadn't watched the last video, go back and watch that. A little more details on that setup. But today, we're going to be working on this and trying to get the rear axle under. What we're going to start off with is just pulling that leaf pack off, the upper leaf pack, and then we'll come over here and grind this one and this one, the rivet. We'll get that zipped off, and then we'll be able to move this straight up. I was hoping to get 3 inches, but it only came out to like 1 inch and 5/8 or so. I guess just because of the angles and the way it moves. But as you can tell, this is what it's going to look like. So see, it definitely moved it up. I will have to go back and drill some new holes there and there, and then we'll get rid of this and then try to smooth out the frame the best we can. A lot of dirt and water. It's definitely jacked the frame up. But we'll worry about those holes at a little bit later time. Right now, just getting it mocked up and see how I'm gonna like it. And from the calculations, I think the bottom of the frame from the front to rear is going to be about a 5-inch break. But hopefully it'll be a little bit less once the weight of the frame sets on the leaf springs and stuff and squats it down just a little bit, because it is heavy. But if we have to, we'll take a couple leaves out, and worst case scenario, it'll be a little bit softer ride, and we'll run airbags with it to get it the way we want. Not a big deal, because this thing's rated at, I think, 22,000 gross weight. She'll never see that weight again, but we'll definitely have it to where it can haul or pull a camper, or we don't know what we're doing with it yet, but if we can, then we will do that. In the worst case scenario, we'll make a 4-link, and she'll be able to haul whatever she wants then. But we'll get started on this side, and I'll bring you back, and as we go a bit further along, show you the steps that I'm doing. But we'll bring you back. Alright, this is what this leaf spring looks like after you remove the upper pack and the block. And I took a wire wheel and cleaned it up the best I could. And I took a cutoff or angle grinder and just kind of cut the heads off of these. And I'll take a flat disc and get them down smooth. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. All right, and here's what it looks like after flat disc. On the other side, I could not pop them all the way through, and that was even cutting both sides. So I just left the other side in, and I'll do the same on this side as well. We'll get them flush down to the frame once we move this up. But on the other side, those had bolts on the other side, so I'm gonna have to do some more cutting. So I'll bring you back after I get these two out. That was a bummer. Not expecting that, but we'll be back. All right, we've got those. That one came out really good. This one here, I had to booger up just a little bit, but we'll smooth it out once we get it off of here. So now I'm just gonna undo those 4 bolts. They are coarse thread, so shouldn't have any issues getting those off. And then we'll get those off and bring it right back. All right, we've got it ready to separate from the frame, and we'll just take pry bar right in there, pull it out, get it off of those rivets, and we got the jack under here to support it, so when it does come loose, it won't fall. Alrighty, with the crowbar, it just popped right off. Now what we'll do is we'll take and cut these and these rivets and just sand them smooth the frame. These we'll just leave on here because we're going to end up taking this whole piece of angle iron off on both sides. So those, we'll leave those alone, but you can see how the years of crud that's got behind that bracket. Let me show you the other side of it. See, it's just full of dirt and crud and everything. So we'll get that cleaned out with a wire brush. We'll get these smooth, like I said, and then we'll take a wire brush to all this, and then we'll take that bracket and move it up here and put the 4 bolts back in. All right, here's what it looks like all wire brushed off. Definitely looks better than it was, but you can definitely see how rough it gotten in there. Let's move that where I boogered it up a little bit. I got that smoothed out. I'll show you on the back side. There's the difference. That's how bad it was. The other side was actually worse. But so now we'll take the jack and we'll lift this up, put the 4 bolts in it, and I'll take care of this side. Alrighty, there's that side installed, and I did reconfirm that it was about 1 inch and 5/8 instead of 3. So we'll definitely do some playing around with the leaf packs, and we'll see what kind of rake we got. But we'll come over here, and it's time to get this axle out. Like I said, I'm just gonna zip these off, these welds, so we can move these in for those leaf springs. So we'll get this axle out, get those perches cut off, get them ground down, and ready to go back on. Alrighty, we got the leaf spring perches cut off, welded back where I went through the axle just a little bit and grounded it smooth. They're not perfect, but we'll definitely go back over them again. But for the meantime, this is just going to get us up underneath the frame. So I'm saying we're going to have to go from here, probably to about right here, I think. So we might have to move some more stuff. We don't know yet. But got an idea about the leaf springs. I think we're going to move this up to this hole, and then these ears will be sticking up here. But you know, I've seen people cut these ears off and left them alone like that. Or we may, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put a bed on this thing, so we may just tie the top of these ears into the bed frame, give it some more support. But I think I'm gonna move that up real quick and see how much more clearance that gives me. But I'll bring you back here in a sec. We got that moved up, probably both sides, and have the axle sitting underneath it. Alrighty, we got the axle up underneath the frame. Man, what a job that was. But we don't have no U-bolts or nothing on it right now. We still got to cut some brackets off and move some stuff. But we've got her set down on a 4x4. Represents the height of the 255/70 22.5s. So center line of the front axle and the center of that is exactly the same. So now we know what she's gonna look like. She's got about 4.5 inch rake from the front to the rear. I have no idea of what they need to be, but if we have to, we could probably take 1 inch worth of leaf springs out if need be. Here you can see I got the ears on the front bracket sticking up. Like I said, we'll put a bed. I think we are gonna put a bed on it, so we can just attach that to the new rails for the bed, just to give it extra support. But yeah, she's setting good. But back here, we gotta take off the shock. We gotta cut the shock bracket off, and then we gotta move the brake lines tabs here. Once we do that, we'll be able to get U-bolts in it. And I think we'll have to zip off just a little bit at the top of this so that the brackets will fit flush on the leaf spring. But yeah, I like the way it's turning out. So let's get this done so we can get the U-bolts and actually maybe get the leaf springs tacked into place once I set the pinion angle. All right, guys, she's finally in. It's about time. But you can see and look at those welds. That's not bad. I'm trying to learn, but they're not bad at all. Some of them are a little more bigger than the others, but hey, you know what? We can always grind them and fix them back later if we need to. But saying that, she's all in. We end up, I cut the leaf spring tabs or the locating pins. I'll get some new ones made for those. We ended up taking 3 leaves out, and she did have like I would say 4.5 inch rake. Now she's just like 3.25 inch rake, and to me, I think it looks a lot better than what it did. But like I said, if we need to add airbags, we will, but I really don't think we will unless we're hauling something really, really heavy. But yeah, and here's this side too. Like I said, now these welds, you know, they're not as bad, but you know, still learning. But she's definitely in. I set the pinion angle at 6 degrees because that's what it was in the E450 I took it out of with the open chassis. So we should be okay with that because we're going to be running like a 2-piece dry shaft. So that should take any of the vibration out. But, you know, like I said, if we have to redo some things, we do, because basically this is mock-up. But I think we'll call it a day on this video because it is about to storm and I'm done for today. So with that being said, we'll catch you on the next.